What's up, everybody?
And we at it again.
It's your boy L to the Z.
And your boy Steel right here.
Of course, you are now live with us on the Blueprint Sessions,
Blueprint Sessions,
episode 2.
baby. Episode 2, man. Can you believe it?
Episode 2.
This is crazy. Did you enjoy the first episode though?
It seems like it was just yesterday when we
Eish,
were
bruh.
recording episode 1.
It's crazy, man. Honestly speaking, I feel like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I really feel like we're doing something. We have absolutely no idea what we're doing. We're just doing it, setting a blueprint for ourselves. Like, we're setting a blueprint for ourselves. Like, we don't even know what we're doing, really. Okay?
Okay, I wouldn't say that, man.
Well, in terms of having someone guide us or tell us what it is that we need to do.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
it's not
yeah,
like
that is true.
we haven't seen podcasts before, because we have. But in terms of like someone like mentoring us, it like
Yeah,
in
we
how
don't
to
have any mentors in this
you understand
type of field. Yeah.
exactly. So it's new to us, you know, and we really do hope you enjoy it. But today we're speaking about a lot of things, and we're also going to be having a guest with us. Okay.
Yeah, a very special guest. man.
Very,
Like,
very special guest. You want to stay tuned in for that, okay? You want to stay tuned in for that. We're going to be speaking everything media. We're going to be asking him about media-related questions because he's been in the media game for a minute.
Yeah, 20 years, bro.
That's a lot.
20
That's a
years.
long time, man.
20 years.
That's a long time. That's a lot
2
of
decades,
experience
bro.
also, yeah. So we just want to ask him a couple of questions. We're going to be asking him a couple of questions. I know LZ's got his questions. I've got my questions.
Yeah.
And it's going to be pretty interesting. I saw your questions. I'm like, oh, snap. Okay. Okay. You know what? You're going
Yeah.
hard. You're going
Yeah,
hard.
bro.
I'm not going easy on him either.
At the end of the day, we gotta realize this man has been in this game for 20 years.
Yeah.
So this is
And he's a doctor. Qualified doctor.
in music.
In music, exactly.
Yeah.
But he's going to speak about that later on, though.
Yeah. Okay, let's not give too much away.
Oh,
Let's
wait,
not give
exactly.
too much
I'm
away.
thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Dude, check. So Eminem released the song,
Snap.
Walk on Water. What do you
Walk
think?
on
Featuring
Water.
Beyonce, what do you think?
It's, bruh, I don't want to lie. I don't want to hear a 40-something old rapper,
Yeah.
rapping until I heard 444.
Yeah.
And I was like, flip, these guys can still do it.
Yeah.
Then I heard M was releasing an album. I was like, do I want to still hear an M album?
Oh, so he's
at this
releasing a
stage?
whole album
He's releasing a whole album.
this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
they still haven't given us a
Date.
date.
Okay.
So when I heard that, I was like, the last time this guy gave me an album that I actually liked
Yeah.
was Recovery.
Okay. Yeah. Same here.
All the other stuff afterward, they were okay. They
Yeah.
weren't wow. So after I heard that song, I was like, okay, I definitely want to hear the album.
Okay.
Because number one, just the feature alone, he told us he's doing something totally different.
Okay.
Because he's never featured her before. Actually,
Yeah.
he normally...
Wait, hold up. Has he? Has he never?
No, he's never.
I don't
He's
remember an
featured
Eminem Beyonce song ever,
No.
actually. Yeah.
He only featured Rihanna.
Whoa. That's
And
huge.
that was the only black female
Yeah.
that he's ever used. Because normally he uses white females.
Yeah. Skylar Grey.
Scarlet Gray's your...
I don't know all the others.
what's this chick's name now? The name's running away from me.
I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Anyways, I'll think about it later.
But okay, cool. So I know you were very critical on his freestyle. Was it on BT?
Yeah, the BET
Yeah,
Cypher. The
Yeah.
BET
So
Cypher.
you were very critical about
I
that.
hated it.
Okay.
I loved what he
Why?
was standing for. But
Okay, but why did you hate it though?
The thing is, his flow was garbage. The
Okay.
flow is trash, man. The flow is trash.
But don't you feel like that was the same flow he used on the track?
nah, it wasn't.
Because okay, I had to myself. What I did right is I listened to the song. I heard it was dope. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I went into the internet, right? I went on
Yes.
YouTube, checked out the song, and I read some comments. Okay,
Uh,
and I saw a lot of his fans are actually not liking it.
the song.
Yeah,
That's weird.
a lot of the comments basically are, why is he? It feels more like he's speaking than rapping.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people kind of feel like this is not the Eminem we know.
Well, that's good, man. At the end of the day, he went on a spiritual route, man. He's trying to tell people that he is human. He makes a lot of mistakes.
That was a very human
He's
song.
trying to
Yeah.
walk a better path than he's been walking for. How many years has he been doing this?
I don't even know, man.
Almost as long as I would guess, actually. Almost 20 years, eh?
Really?
Almost 20 years.
I don't even know how long he's been at it for, but I know he's been at it for a while.
Yeah, as the song is titled Walk on Water, and the lyrics are I walk on water, but I'm not Jesus.
Yeah.
I only walk on water when it freezes. Basically, he's saying that he's not there yet,
Yeah.
but he's on that path. And if you listen to his lyrics, you'll understand more about it. But it's still early days, man.
Yeah.
We'll still hear the rest of the album, and
I
we'll give it better
personally
criticism.
I listened to it. I personally liked it. Just from a perspective of, yeah, sure, he wasn't rapping as such. He was kind of, like
addressing.
yeah, he was basically kind of talking, just not your normal kind of talk, but like, but I enjoyed it because it was just so, like, I really felt like he was sharing his heart in the sense of like, man, I feel like all these expectations,
I am a
pressures, like people expecting me to produce a hit every time I release a song and stuff like that. And that's what some of his fans were critical of him about, because they were like, no, we're not expecting you to release a hit song every single time. Like while I was reading the comments, I'm seeing all these type of comments. And so they just want him to just be him and just release music. They just want him to rap. You know what I mean? So, but I enjoyed the song though.
I love the song.
I thought it was really cool. Our guest has walked into the room, ladies and gentlemen. So, I don't know, do you want us to continue maybe speaking about these next two topics, or let's go straight into...
He hasn't jumped onto his throne yet.
He hasn't jumped into his throne, right? Okay, cool. Just one more...
I think he's still fitting his crown.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Just one more rumor report, basically. I don't know what I don't really want to title it a rumor report, but... Casper Nyovest, right? You know he's filling up FNB Stadium. He's planning on filling up FNB Stadium on the 2nd of December.
Yeah.
Now,
making history.
Like no South African music artist has ever attempted to do something like this, ever. So that's like a 90,000 seater, okay? And he's planning to fill it up. Now, what happened was he first started off with filling up the dome.
Yes.
Okay, which
and
was a
history.
20,000 seater. So he sold that out, and then he went to fill up Orlando Stadium, which was I think it's a 44,000 seater. Apparently, I was listening to 702 Unplugged. Azania said it was sold out, but from my research, from what I've researched, it wasn't necessarily sold out. Sold out. I know that he did surpass 30,000, 35,000 people, but I don't reckon it was sold out. But anyway, so what Casper's been trying to do is he's been trying to get sponsors to sponsor him with filling up F&B.
Yeah.
And basically sponsors were being hesitant about sponsoring him in regards to his venture. Okay. And he went on into, like, I listened to some of his interviews, and he's kind of like venting his frustrations, saying that I don't understand it because I filled up the dome, we did Orlando Stadium, you'd think by now you'd be believers and kind of, sponsor this event. But it's like, irregardless of the sponsorship, I'm gonna put my money into it, so I'm gonna bank
out
the
of
bag on myself.
His own pocket.
You understand? Exactly. Or bet the bag on myself, rather. I'm gonna bet the bag on myself. I'm gonna sponsor myself. I'm gonna put the money into this whole event myself.
Okay.
And if you guys jump on, you jump on. So basically, I saw a video last night where he released a video basically announcing that he has received sponsorship, man.
Wow.
So Ciroc has jumped on as the let me just see, as the headlining. That's a big brand. As a headlining sponsor, right? So Ciroc has jumped on as a headlining sponsor, and SABC One is going to be one of the major sponsors as well. There was another sponsor also that's going to be contributing majorly also into the event, but SABC One, that's huge. Okay. Let's be honest. That's not light at all.
I'm not really a fan of him.
Yeah, no, I know, but take that out of the equation.
Much respect to what he's doing for the culture. Much respect for what he's doing for our country.
Yeah.
Because honestly speaking, I think he is the biggest thing in SA right now, and he's taken us so far. And
Oh man,
I'm
he's doing a
just
lot.
glad that he's doing so much. Um, I don't want to. I don't want to say too much.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really familiar with the whole thing, but I'm just proud of what he's doing.
I mean, he's doing a lot. Honestly, I have to be honest. Like, it it takes a lot of guts to say you wanna like guy from
Three
Northwest.
stadiums, man.
Exactly,
Three
guy from
stadiums.
Northwest, Mahikeng. You're coming onto the industry. You're taking the industry by its horns, and you're
What?
saying you
This
want to
is his
fill up
third year doing this now.
third, fifth year.
Fifth year.
Yeah, it's his fifth year. But look, man,
Proud of him, man.
he's been in the industry for more than that. Obviously, it's just that he blew up. Obviously, like
5
just
years
recently,
ago.
like 2013, I think it was. Yeah. So, yeah, man. Like honestly, that. Anyway, in other news, also, Tyrese apparently lied about getting $5 million from Will Smith. You know, and he also apparently lied about being funded by Coke.
Yeah.
Look, man, people are just trolling him on social media, bro. Like, I really feel for the guy.
The sad thing is, I'm actually glad you brought this up before our guest gets up here.
Yeah.
This guy has been claiming to be a Christian, and what he's doing right now is just it's
Nitty-gritty.
horrific. It's horrific because
Nitty-gritty.
look at it this way.
Yeah.
This guy is busy fighting custody for his daughter
He is. Yeah.
because he went through a divorce, and him and his baby mama are fighting for custody for his daughter.
Yeah.
Instead of him focusing on that, he's on social media crying. I don't know, man. It's terrible, first of all.
Dude.
And then he lies about one of the biggest brands ever, Coke.
Coke, yeah.
And then he lies
Wow.
about his own brother,
His own
Will
friend,
Smith,
basically.
backing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
It's terrible, man. It's terrible to see. But at the end of the day, he's human, so
Yeah, true. And look,
We'll pray for him.
You
We'll
and
pray
I at
for
this
him.
point in time, like, can't really relate to his pain in any way because we don't know what that feels like. You understand? Like, I
we
don't
don't
know.
have any kids.
We don't have any
We're not
children.
married.
You understand? So, you know what I mean? But apparently, he's also chosen to be his own lawyer in court. So he flunked his current lawyer and he's chosen to defend himself. So I don't know how that's gonna work out, but I really, man, just hope the whole situation just works out.
I know
Like,
he loves
it-
his daughter very
Exactly,
much.
like he loves his daughter.
he just needs to get his act
What
together.
happened to that joint custody thing, bro? Like,
It seems like to be a bitter divorce, whatever. But anyways, let's not be too
long. Yeah. Now we're going straight into what we promised you.
Yes,
I hope you're ready.
I know. I am. I've been
Exactly.
ready.
Exactly, I'm ready. So we're gonna introduce to you right now, Dr. Waldo Malan. I almost moved straight into the Dr. Malan. Dr. Waldo Malan. We call him Doc.
We
Yeah.
call him Doc. We
Yeah,
call
yeah.
him Doc because he has a doctor's certificate in music, and the man has been doing music, I think, longer than 20 years, but he's been in ministry for 20 years.
We'll find out.
I did not know this until a couple of days ago when he normally gives us daily devotions at work.
Yeah.
And he
True.
was sharing that he's been doing ministry for 20 years and he experienced something through a conference that we just walked out of. And here he comes,
Exactly.
looking
Hi,
cool as
guys.
ever.
Dr. Waldo, how you doing?
It's very dingy. It's like a cabaret venue. Yeah, we just need the smoke machines.
Yeah, we're still working on getting our own studio, maybe, you know.
And maybe
Yeah.
giving your guest a cap that he can also wear back to front.
Yeah.
Just to go with the
If
groove.
you're listening, yeah, we're wearing our cap back to front right now, both LZ
Doc
and
is a
myself.
big fan.
We didn't even
of,
plan it, though.
Caps and
We didn't even plan
everything.
it.
We did.
And then
Yeah.
also holding the microphone like a rapper, sort of like.
You're making me uncomfortable already.
Dr. Waldo, we're gonna just jump straight into it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome to the Blueprint session. Basically, you very involved in the media industry. Could you please let us know how you've gotten to where you are right now? You know, just a breakdown of what you studied, where you studied, what you do, what you have done, what you specialize in, and how long you've been at this for.
My word. Okay. It's
to
it's a
begin?
long journey. And it's an interesting journey because God has a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
So, you start out when you're young and you've got all these plans and you think, oh, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And so you set out to do that and to achieve those goals. And then somewhere along the way, God changes them.
Yeah.
For as long as I can remember now, maybe I should say that I am older than half a century. So when I talk about when I was young, it's a long time ago. All that I can remember was I always loved music, and in particular, the trumpet. And I always wanted to play the trumpet.
Yeah.
So when I was I was 7 years old when I asked my mom, I want to go for trumpet lessons. So there was an after-school music center in the town where we stayed, and so she took me there. And you then had to do like an entrance, an aptitude test, So I did the aptitude test, and then the lady that did the test said to my mom, you must really just keep your son away from music because he's not got a musical bone in his body.
What?
He's just absolutely useless.
That is so unbelievable. Oh my gosh.
So, in any case, I was devastated when I heard that I wasn't musical and that I would never be able to play the trumpet. So I just left it. And during those days, we had no TV and all of that stuff. But if my homework was done, I was allowed to listen to the radio.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And then particularly there was a program on a Saturday morning that I was allowed to listen to. It was like a talk show. And on this particular Saturday morning, this was very soon after this lady had said to me that I won't ever be a musician. I was lying in the room listening to the radio show, and they had a feature program of the Drakensberg Boys Choir.
Oh.
And all I heard was they went on tours, they went overseas, the school was on a farm, they did horse riding. I said to my mom, I want to go to this school. I want to go to this school. So after a long hoo-ha, I eventually went to the school to do an audition, and I was accepted.
What?
So then when I went to the school, 6, 7, 8, I went there when I was 9 years old, and I stayed at the school for 6 years.
What?
So that's where I started singing. And in fact, it was, at that time, it was exceptionally expensive. I think the school fees was about 550 Rand a year. So
Those days, that
was just like a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
And then my dad couldn't afford it after the first year. So
Sorry. Can I just like pause you? Like right now, I'm like flabbergasted right now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm even losing my words, exactly. But like, just to put perspective for some of you who are listening, the Drakensberg Boys Choir is one of the most respected schools and choirs you will find in the nation.
Yes.
And I think,
And
if I'm not mistaken, it's really, really big. It's major.
Yeah, it is major, yes.
Whoa, I didn't even know this about you.
Yeah, so then, in any case, after 1 year there, I decided to leave because my dad couldn't afford it. And then the school gave me a bursary. And in fact, they sponsored my next 5 years there. It was during that time that I started taking piano lessons because I thought, oh, well, then, by now the trumpet was forgotten because this other woman had said, you can't play the trumpet. So I started taking piano lessons. The teacher I had was very strict, and, you had to have your fingers curved and all things. And she used a ruler, and she hit me on my hands with a ruler so my fingers would stay down. And I thought, nee, this is not fun. I don't want to play piano. So I stopped piano.
I'm glad you didn't teach me like that.
Yeah, you are, eh? Yeah, I've learned through experience. In any case, in my second year at the school, we got a new conductor, and I was in his choir, and he played the piano beautifully. Okay, so I was just absolutely in awe when he played piano. So I went to him and I said to him, would you mind teaching me? And he said, no, sure, come. And he started teaching me, but really like for the love of music. So in any case, I just carried on. Eventually, I left the school at the end of Standard 7, which would now be grade 9, and then went to a normal school. Strangely enough, I went to a rugby school. I do not have a sporting bone in my body, so that was weird. But in any case, I didn't take music, and then in the middle of my standard 8 year, so that would be grade 10, I decided, hey, I'd actually like to do music. So I went to speak to the teachers, and I said, can I take music as a subject? So they said, well, we'll make an exception in your case. You can take music as a subject, but you have to catch up all the work, and by the end exam, you have to be able to write what these kids had learned in 2.5 years already.
Goodness.
So I worked myself to a standstill, my fingers to the bone, and I passed. So I then did music up until matric, and then decided, well, that's all I ever want to do, just music. My big dream was to write music. I just want to write music. I just want to create music. And then in my mind's eye, I saw myself as a conductor in front of a huge orchestra. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to study music. As soon as I'm finished studying music, I am going to buy myself a cottage in Switzerland next to a big lake. And there I'm going to sit and just write music.
The whole time.
So that was my life's ambition to do that. In any case, things changed a little bit. So while I was a student, I had to pay for my accommodation. So I started playing in restaurants and in bars, just like background music. It's mindless and senseless. It's like it's an absolute chore. But I did that for, probably 6 or 7 years. But I made enough money to pay my flat, to buy food, and to buy a car.
What?
Yes. And to buy extra books for my studies.
Goodness.
Yeah, I think I need to try this out.
So I did the my courses during the day. In the afternoon, I did my assignments. In the evening, I worked in a bar or in a restaurant. In fact, I actually worked as a barman as well. When the barman wasn't there, then I closed the piano and then I served drinks to people. Strange. If I think about those days. But in any case, it was a great learning school.
Yes.
Because when I went to university, I thought, oh, well, I'll become a pianist first. So, but in my first year, I suddenly realized, hey, if you want to be a real piano player, you've got to practice like 8 to 10 hours a day. And I thought, you know, where's the time for jawling? Where's the time for partying? I can't do this. So I stopped playing the piano, sort of like in that concept. And then changed over to composition. So that was fine. And then that is, in fact, when I played in the bars and in the restaurants, and then obviously you're playing popular tunes that people always want to hear and want to ask. And that's where I taught myself jazz and how to read chord charts and how to improvise. Because you have to, I mean, a set was like some nights it was 6 hours long. So you've got to play for 6 hours. Okay. So puts into perspective what I do here.
You already been trained, prepared a long time ago.
Mindless jumble in the background. But in any
So you used to Faith Connect.
So I used to Faith Connect. In fact, one story that I do recall, I was working in a restaurant in Johannesburg, downtown Johannesburg. I went through there a couple of years later. It's totally derelict at the moment. But that time it was like quite smart. And Cliff Richard did a concert in Johannesburg. And he was coming to the restaurant after his show. So they were only going to arrive at 12:15 or 12:30. My session finished at midnight. So they asked me, would I stay on so that they could have music? So I actually played background music for Cliff Richard in a restaurant. Oh, what a claim to fame. But in any case, while I was doing all of this, I also started, I got a part-time job at the university teaching vocal coaching and jazz piano. In any case, during those years, so that was pre-1994, so we had conscription. And the reason why I was studying was I was trying to stay out the army. because
Oh,
you understand?
those days.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes, those
okay.
days. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't have a sporting bone in my body,
Wow.
neither do I have a violent bone in my body. I
Yo.
don't really like guns. I'm not like the military type of
Yeah.
person at all. And
Funny
then
enough, you look like someone who is,
a military type.
yeah, and still
Really?
look sporty at the same time.
My word, how's that? eh? God has a sense of humor after all.
Yeah.
Definitely does.
So in any case, I was studying, and I kept on studying to stay out the army. So I did my BMass degree. I immediately enrolled for a master's degree.
Wow.
So I started my master's degree. When that was over, I thought, oh my word, what am I going to do now? So I enrolled for a postgraduate diploma in education, which I then did. And then I still kept on getting letters from the army. So I then enrolled for my doctorate. And then they just got sticky and they said, "Yeah, this is over now. You have to come to the army." So I thought, oh no. So in any case, I went to the army. As soon as I got into the army, I applied for a band to be part of the army band.
Wow, okay.
You see. It took me
smart.
quite a while to get there. It took me about 6 months. But eventually, my pleading and everything worked. And I was assigned to the Light Horse Brigade band in Johannesburg. So when I arrived there, I said to the commanding officer, look, I've got a degree in composition. I can do all your arrangements for you. I can write out music for you. I can do all of that. And he plonked an instrument in my hand. And he said, you will play this. So I looked at this thing. I didn't know what it was. I'm a music student. Master's degree behind my name. I've never seen this instrument in my life before. It was a euphonium. So for those people that don't know,
I don't even think I've heard of such an instrument.
Right, let me tell you. You will know the pictures. When you see a brass band, you've got the guy that stands inside his instrument with like a huge bell over
I
his head.
see that one. Okay, I
Now
see
that's
that.
a sousaphone.
Okay.
The smaller cousin of the sousaphone is a tuba.
Okay,
Now
I've
it
seen
is
that one
also
also.
quite huge, and you carry that.
Okay.
Then the smaller cousin of that is the euphonium. So it's like a squash tuba.
Oh, okay.
So he plonked this instrument in my hand, and we had a military parade 2 days later where I had to play. I couldn't play.
Sure.
I knew how to march. So I marched, and I faked the playing.
Left singing.
So I put the instrument to my mouth, and I just like bubbled my cheeks.
Oh, my word.
To make it look like I was playing. So in any case, while I was in the army, I learned how to play the
man.
euphonium. And then later on, when I started playing the trumpet, the fingering is the same, so it was easier for me to... Because I eventually did play a bit of trumpet.
Okay. Oh, wow.
I eventually got to that. In any case, when I got out of the army, I had to pay back a bursary for the then Transvaal Education Department for 2 years. Okay. So I went to school, and it was at school that I met my wife. She was also a music teacher.
Oh, wow.
And eventually, I couldn't handle it anymore, teaching these kids. Okay, now, especially boys, age 13, 14, that's a very difficult time in their lives. Okay, that's the time they get like 6,524 and a half hormones. Charge them down in 1 second. Okay, and they become monsters. And you can't teach them. They're unteachable. And I went home driving, and I was fantasizing in my head about how I was going to kill these kids. And I got home. I said to my wife, I'm in a very, very bad place. I can't go back to school because I've got these thoughts about murder in my head. I'm not a murderous person. I love all people, but now all of a sudden I want to kill these boys, I said to her, I don't care what it is. Somebody wants me to play at their wedding or at a funeral or at a bar. Whatever job comes my way, I'm taking it and I'm resigning.
Wow.
The words were hardly out my mouth when the Market Theatre phoned me, and they were looking for a musical director for their Christmas pantomime show. Right. They said, are you available? I said, when did the rehearsal start?
Wow.
And it was starting the day that the 4th term started. I said, I'm in. You just prepare the contract, I'll come and sign, I'm in. I went back the next day and I resigned at school. No, really, I did. Right? And so my wife said to me, so what are you going to do now? Are you now going to be in the theatre? So I said, yeah, I'm going to be in the theatre because I did theatre shows. Like for many years before that, I was an accompanist. And I said, well, that's where I'm going to be. So I was still busy with this show at the Market Theatre when Wits University phoned me. And they said, we've got a position open for a lecturer. Are you interested? I said, sure. So that January, I started teaching at the university. I was as happy as a pig in mud at that job. I loved my job there. I loved working with the students. It was just absolutely gorgeous. And then I was about 3 years in, when I suddenly received a phone call from a gospel artist by the name of Evan Squimby. Okay. Now, he's no longer in South Africa. He's sort of more well-known for many years ago, so he's not in the rap scene at all.
Oh, okay.
He sings traditional stuff. Okay. So that's why you look so confused.
Yeah.
But in any case, he was quite a well-known guy. I had met him while I was at the army. And so he phones me, he says, listen, man, a friend of mine has got a missionary organization down in East London and they're looking for a worship leader. Are you interested in the job?
Yeah.
So this friend of his turns out to be Pastor Andre Raybert. Okay. The missionary organization turns out to be Revival South Africa.
Oh.
While he phones me while I'm in Bloemfontein. I'm at a petrol station putting in fuel because I'm on my way to go and do a concert in Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
So I phoned my wife. I said to her, how do you feel like moving to East London? Well, this is after I had to look on the map to find East London because I didn't know where East London was. Wow. And she says, over my dead body.
Yeah, I can just imagine.
That's over my dead body. Now, you must understand, we had just bought a house.
Yeah.
We were freshly married. I mean, we were married for like 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
Our daughter was just born. She was about 5 months old at the time of the phone call. In any case, this thing sort of like kept on bugging me, but I went down to Cape Town, did the concert, and forgot all about this mission thing. Yeah. So 3 weeks later, my friend phones me again. He says, listen, have you phoned that Andre Raybert? I said, no, man, I haven't. Would you mind if I give your number to him? He asks me. I said, innocently, no, I don't mind. Worst thing ever. Because Pastor Andre is like a pit bull with a bone. He does not let things go. Hey? So in any case, he speaks to me about what they do, how they travel every week from town to town, preaching the gospel and all of that. And something stirs in my heart.
Wow.
He sends me a video, a promotional video of what they do on the road. Man, and I'm so convicted, I know I must go. But now my wife had said over her dead body. So we invite very good friends of ours over for a Saturday morning breakfast. In fact, he married us. And I say to him, look, we're going to have breakfast, we're going to chat, I want to show you a video, and then I want to ask you a question. Because I feel sort of like torn in two. So he watched the video, and his words after the video finished was, why are you still here?
Whoa.
Oh, my word. Okay, so that was the end. My wife is in tears. I'm in tears. They are in tears. We are totally overwhelmed. And I phoned Pastor Andre Raybert, and I said to him, we are in. We're coming. Wow. It's just that because I just knew that God is calling us out. And I said to him, we're coming. We had just bought the house, so I had to put the house on the market. I said to God, it's impossible to sell a house that you've just bought. It's just it's virtually impossible. You can't do it. So I said to him, if you really are in this, then you have to sell the house for us. So Sharon and I, with our baby daughter, got into the car and we drove down to East London. Now to come and meet Pastor Andre and Jenny, whom we are now going to work for. We've never met them before. We've accepted a job in this missionary organization, but now we're going to meet them and the rest of the crew. So we drive down to East London. We are hardly in East London. I get a phone call from the estate agent. The house is sold. House is sold for 40,000 rand more than what I had bought.
What?
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. No, seriously. When that happened, I knew, look, God has got, God's finger is in here. You know? In any case, that is where it all started. So that's where ministry started for us. Real full-time ministry. So we went and we did Revival South Africa for 2 years. That means in the car, packed, ready to go on a Monday morning. You drive to a town, wherever. You find a town hall or a school hall. You set up, you have meetings Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning for the ladies, Thursday and Friday, and then you've got a baptism on Friday night. After Friday night is finished, you pack up, and if it's close, you leave, or you sleep for Friday night, and Saturday morning, we drive back to East London. You get home, you unpack your suitcases, you do all your washing, you do everything that you need to do. Sunday morning, we had church at the Guild Theatre.
Yeah.
So you would arrive at the Guild Theatre between 4 and 5 in the morning, set up, because now you've got to build the church. So you build the church, then it's sound checks, it's all of this, and wada, and then you had your service. After the service, you pack everything up again, back into the truck, you go home, you have lunch, Monday morning out on the road again. So we did that.
That's why you're so good at creating sets and everything.
Ja, vraagjes, ne? Can you believe that? So, but I must just say that during all of that time, God was exceptionally faithful. Because when I had said, we are coming, I said because I realized there was a call of God on my life. And in fact, we had not... one of the questions Pastor Andre asked me, he said, but you're saying you're coming, but we haven't even discussed your salary.
Whoa.
So I said to him, the salary is not important to me now because it's the calling, and I really feel a tug of God's heart.
Wow.
So in any case, my starting salary was 2,000 for the month.
Wow.
In Revival South Africa, there were many months where there was just no money because we had to pay fuel, we had to print letters, we had to get to places, we had to buy food, and then whatever was left over after all of this was done, we would then share between ourselves. Okay. So, and some months it just wasn't money. So, but strangely enough, we never lacked. Because my son was born during that time as well. Now, you know, well, no, you won't know. You are soon going to know how expensive it is to have a child.
Yeah.
Okay, but they don't just pop out, you know. I mean, it's like all kinds of stuff. It's tests and it's scans and it's this and it's that and it's food and it's nappies and that. My son's birth cost me 210 rand. The entire birth. My daughter, who was born 2 years prior to that in Johannesburg, cost me 25,000 rand.
What?
No, seriously, no. So, it was...
That makes no sense.
It makes no sense, does it? But God is in this.
Wow.
So in any case, my children grew up in the ministry. We grew up in the ministry. And slowly but surely, God started changing stuff. Now, you must understand, I'm a composer. I want a cottage in Switzerland.
Yeah.
I want to write music. When I accepted the call of God to come to the mission field, I said to God, I lay all of that aside. I will put my composition aside. And now, okay, the music that I write is not sort of like easy listening. It's like classical music. It's for orchestras and big stuff. So it's not your general, like rapping stuff. You know?
It's like your David Foster types.
David Foster type of stuff.
Wow.
So in any case, I said to God, I'm leaving that aside. I'm focusing on you, on your call, what you want us to do. And so I just play praise and worship. I do write praise and worship music still, but I stopped that whole idea that I had of getting to Switzerland. Strangely, God blesses me. In fact, we had just moved into this building when I got contacted by the KZN Philharmonic Orchestra. Okay. And they said, we've got a pianist who I happen to know that lived in Germany, and he's coming out to South Africa, and he wants to, and we would like to perform your piano concerto.
Wow.
Which is just like unheard of, you know. So I actually went down to Durban, and there I heard the KZN Philharmonic with Surendran Reddy at the piano play my work and perform it live, which was just like really, it was just like a little present from God. Subsequent to us moving to the building, everything changed. Because Revival South Africa evolved. Okay. We don't really believe in evolution as such, but this evolved.
Yeah.
So instead of us packing a truck and driving out and impacting a village and a community and a neighborhood with a message and the gospel of Christ, God makes it possible now for us to do that via television. So
Yeah.
it's the same message.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the same heart.
Yeah.
It's the same vision.
Yeah.
It's now just a bigger audience.
Yes.
We're reaching more people.
Come on,
Yes.
yeah.
And so God starts that whole thing and births it and grows it. Around that now, a whole lot of other stuff happens. And as all those things happen, we still have very small staff. So, you know that they say the guy with one eye is king in the land of the blind. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
You've
okay.
heard
I
that-
get it. I
you've-
get
you've
it
heard
now.
that
I've never
expression,
heard it.
yeah.
I've never heard it before, but I get it.
So
Wow.
it means even if you, he who knows a little,
Yeah.
but that little is the most in that environment,
Yeah.
he becomes the boss.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely.
That essentially describes me. So I am currently a jack of all trades. You
on.
ask me,
Yep.
what do I do?
That's
I
true.
have no clue. I absolutely have no idea. What is God's plan with all this? I have no idea,
Come on,
except He wants His gospel out.
Come on, yeah.
And He wants the message out that He really loves people, and He really likes people, and He really cares for them, and He really wants to touch them.
Yeah.
So whether it's TV or it's a magazine or it's building a set or it
Or
is
podcast.
sweeping a floor, or it doesn't really matter
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
As long as the message goes out, God created us for a purpose, and that purpose is to have a deep, deep, deep relationship. So everything that I do fueled by that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the fueling for me is love the Lord your God, all your heart, all your mind, all your might.
Yeah.
Then love other people in exactly the same way. As you realize that you are loved.
Yes.
Because that's what Jesus said. He
Yeah.
said that's the greatest commandment.
Yeah.
Is love God, love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yeah.
Now, that loving yourself is got nothing to do with me standing in front of the mirror and thinking I've got a body like Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I don't, by the way. But or falling in love with myself,
Yeah.
in that sort of vain and shallow way.
Yeah,
No.
I understand.
It is looking at myself and recognizing, hey, this is a creature of God Almighty, the source of all life, the creator of everything. He has created you uniquely so that He can love you.
Yeah.
And that you can love Him in return. Wow. So now I can love God. Now I can love my neighbor. I know that I've digressed a little bit from your story, but or from your question. But the story essentially is this. God has given me a love for music.
Yeah.
I still love music. And wherever I go, I try and incorporate music. However, if I look at my life, music has a small part to play.
Yeah.
And there's a bigger thing that God has created around all of this. But the foundation, I believe, comes from music. Because the one thing that music does teach you as you learn music is you learn perseverance, you learn discipline, you learn all kinds of stuff, patience. It grows you emotionally, it grows you spiritually. It's a spiritual language, number one. Because all creation is full of sound. So God deals with sound right from the beginning. It's just sound. There's just sound, you know. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and everything was dark and void. But there was water, and the Spirit of God hovered.
Yeah.
And that hovered really means it was vibrating. So it was creating a sound. Then the very next verse says, and God said. So if you speak, you're creating sound. Okay? So, and God creates everything with sound. And, okay, so now I can carry on forever. But, so music is still integral. And I think music had a lot to play in the way that I view life. That I view people, that I view the calling of God. Because that's huge.
You know, Doc, like you're a creative also. Like you've got like you said, you're a jack of all trades. Like I've seen this for myself. And I feel like creatives are like some of the most misunderstood people sometimes. And I feel like sometimes it takes creatives to understand creatives. I don't know if that's just my form of thinking sometimes, but I've seen you extend so much wisdom and grace to people who are creators just because you're so creative, and it's like you understand this field. I don't know whether it's because you've been in it for so long or you've done it for so long. I really don't understand. I don't know what it is really, but I guess I want to go to this question here. You get Christians in Hollywood, right? Now we just had a scenario basically. It's not a too recent scenario, but it's a pretty recent scenario. So we've got a gospel artist by the name of Tasha Cobbs. I think you might know her. So she featured Nicki Minaj on one of her songs, and I'd like to get your perspective on it. Like, what do you have to say about Christian artists featuring secular artists on their songs, and vice versa? Secular artists featuring Christian artists on their songs. Like, where is there a line? Where do we draw the line? How do we, you know what I mean? So, like, I just...
Right. It's a loaded question.
Yeah.
And I don't really know whether I can give you a full answer, but I will attempt it.
Okay.
I have no problem. Absolutely no problem. And I base my answer of that on the following. Obviously, if you are featuring a secular artist and it's a sacred environment, you have to be cognizant, or you must take care how that artist portrays the message that you are trying to get across. Okay. So it's gonna help no one if you've got a gospel concert and suddenly you've got a bunch of half-naked women on the stage. You understand? Because I mean, what's the point? Then, you know. But if you have a chorus line of dancing girls and they sort of like clad decently, then I don't have a problem. Jesus didn't have a problem with prostitutes or with tax collectors or with drunkards. In fact, he made a point of seeking those people out, because although as a Christian, and I hate the word Christian, I know it was used and it's used in the Bible, but I don't like the word Christian because it's so tainted. It's so and often so false. But the ethos behind the word Christian, I love. Okay, it is being like Christ, and I like that. I really do. But to be like Christ is to say what the Father says and to do what the Father does. That's all. So Jesus doesn't have a problem, because he says to us that, look, you are of the world. Well, you're in the world, but you're not of the world. So we have to live here. We've got to impact our society. We've got to impact our community. We've got to impact our culture. We have, as lovers of God, we've got to impact the musical culture. If it means that I'm going to use a secular artist to get my message across, by all means I will do it. God can use a donkey to speak. You know what I'm saying? In fact, Jesus is so adamant that he says to the people, well, if you don't praise me, I'll just ask the rocks to do it. Inanimate objects will do the will of God. So for me, it's all about getting the message out there that God loves people. So using a secular artist in my show as a God lover, I don't have a problem with that. My prayer while I'm using that artist is going to be solely focused on that person. And I'm going to pray and I'm going to say, Holy Spirit, you just do the work. And you change them. Let them see God through me, through my musicians, through the rest of my crew. Let them see God and be so intrigued and so attracted that they can get to you. So, in short, I don't have a problem. The message and how we portray the message must carry the weight of the Spirit of God. And look, if you look at Hollywood, we use Hollywood as an example. I have been touched by movies and productions that have come out of Hollywood that are non-Christian. That are fully secular, but has a gospel message.
That is true.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I've been deeply, deeply touched by that. So I just go back to the fact: if God can make a donkey talk, I mean, what is a Hollywood star for him? You know, really, a Hollywood producer. So there's my answer. I don't have a problem.
Wow.
That is quite
wisdom.
Yeah, that is listen, blueprint sessions right now.
Quick question, Doc. Which year did you get married?
1993.
1993.
Were you born?
That's a year. That's a year before I was born.
I was 2 then.
Wait.
I was 2.
No. I was born in '92, so that's a year after I was born.
I
You
was
were
two
still in
then.
nappies.
I was 2.
Yes.
I was 2 then.
93.
The reason why I'm asking this, the man on your right is about to get married.
Is
in
about to
about a
get
month.
married.
Yep.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
This is a nice journey ahead for you.
Like he and I have these conversations all the time because of what we want to do in the media industry, regarding what we want. But the issue that, let me not say it's an issue, but the challenge that we face, our spouses. Now, when we married, our families come first. Now, you said when you got your call, your wife was like adamant, she's like, no, not gonna happen. But eventually, she followed you. Now, how do you go about that route? Because clearly that is not an easy thing to do. To say, okay, we're doing this, but no, God is saying we need to do this.
Look, let me be quite honest with you. It is actually easy.
Wow.
Provided both of you are lovers of God.
Wow.
Okay. So let me use this as an example. I had my eye. I first met my wife. Let me just, have I got time? Okay.
Yes,
This
sir.
will be quick. This is how I met my wife. I had said to my dad at a point in my life in 1992, I was previously engaged. I broke off the engagement. I had come through my past is rather checkered, and I won't bore you with those sordid details, but suffice it to say, I was not an angel. Okay, so I lived the high life, and I really lived high and fast. Okay. And so I had a string of broken relationships behind me. And I said to my father, look, I've now just decided the Bible says there are people who choose not to marry. I'm one of them. I'm never going to marry. He nearly had a heart attack, because I'm the last person in my family to carry on the family name. You understand? So if I don't produce babies, that's it. My family name dies. And this for my father was like the end of the world. I said to him, you just have to make peace with it, but I'm not getting married. It's finished. It's over. I don't want relationships. It's a disaster. I was busy teaching a class when there was a knock on the door. And the door opened, and my future wife opened the door. And she asked me a simple question. She said, excuse me, do you know where Mrs. Beekes is? Now, Mrs. Beekes was the head of department. And I said to her, sure, she's in the classroom next door. And she said, thank you, and she closed the door. Now, everybody's now expecting me saying, oh, well, I had champagne in my veins and there was fireworks. There was nothing like that. I just saw her. She asked me a question, I answered the question. It was literally a 5-second interaction. She walked out. I went home, I phoned my dad. I couldn't get hold of him. I got hold of my mom. I said to my mom, I met my wife.
Wow.
What?
No, seriously.
Wow.
I said to her, I met my wife. She said, oh, who's this woman? I said, I don't know. I saw her and she's disappeared. She's gone. She said, I've never seen her again, So, and I never did. The next year, the following year, this was about 4 months later. When I arrived at school, there was a new music teacher at the school. And it was her.
Oh, wow.
Okay? So I saw her and I thought, you are very, very beautiful. And I really like you. But I was so
come on.
scared.
I hope that's not what you said to her.
Huh?
I hope that's not what you said.
No, I said
Share your
nothing.
game.
I said nothing to her, nothing, because I was so scared of messing up because of my history with bad relationships that I thought I'm not going to scare her away. So it was very casual. Our interaction was just like platonic friends at the most, a cup of tea in the staff room or something like that. We never went out. We never did anything. But guess I really liked her, man. And then I started scheming, so I thought, okay, I am going to scheme here because I'm going to get her. So I came up with this plan, and I said to her, why don't we in the December holidays go and work on a ship? I can play music, you can play music, we make music as background musicians, and we work on a ship. Meanwhile, my ulterior motive thinking, there's going to be a romantic island, palm trees, and all of that. So I schemed with this. And then she said, no, before that, I won a bursary to go to a summer school in England.
Yes.
So I went to England, and that was during the mid-year school holidays. And my family is not like, we come and see you off at the airport or anything. Okay. When I arrived at the airport, Sharon arrives. My wife's name's Sharon. To say goodbye to me and have a good trip. Wow. But with her, there's this blonde guy. Okay. And I look at his eyes, and I know. I know. Okay. I know what he's thinking. And I'm thinking, oh my word, this is serious. Now I've got competition, so I have to get rid of this guy. So yes, I went to England. Yeah, I went to England. I came back from England, then schemed this boat trip. So I spoke to her with a boat trip, and she said, "Yes, that sounds like a fantastic idea. Let's do it." Okay. Then I got panicky because I thought, oh my word, now I'm going to do it. It's a palm tree, romantic island, sunsets, cocktails, and I'm going to declare my love to her and all of that. And then I have to say to her, I schemed this up. And then she's going to say to me, ach nee man, really. Yeah. So I sat her down. Okay, this was September. Round about the 16th, 17th of September. I sat her down. I said to her, look, I have to be quite honest with you. I love you. Well, no, not that I love you. I really like you, and I believe that I'm going to marry you. I believe that God gave you to me, and I would like you to marry me. That's how I started this. So she looks at me, and she says, let me pray about it. That's what she said. Let me pray about it. Now, I'm talking about you and your spouse being God lovers. Yeah. So she goes away. I hear nothing from her, like for a week. A week. Yeah. Okay, I can't sleep. I'm writing poems. I'm giving
why women
flowers.
Do that, man.
Why do they do that?
Word.
I tell you, why do they do that? Keeping me in suspense. Yeah. At the time, I was doing a Bible study at the YMCA in Hillbrow on a Wednesday evening. So I did the Bible study, and just before I got to Bible study, Sharon phones me. She says, can I see you? I said, well, I've got a Bible study up until 9 o'clock, so I can only see you then. She said, that's fine. So we went out to Mivami. I don't think they exist anymore. Anyway, for milkshakes afterwards. We sat down. She said, I prayed, and God told me you're my husband. We can get married. Okay, so I said, fantastic. Let's get married then. Let's get it over with. Let's do it. Okay. Then there was family issues, and then we can't do it. And so I thought, oh, man, it's September. It's such a good, we can marry tomorrow now, because I know she's my wife. She knows God told her that I'm her husband. So what are we waiting for? Okay, so then she had to meet my parents. I had to meet her parents. It was like a whole gedoente. So eventually we decided, December. Then we got engaged in December because then my parents couldn't be there. And it was a whole series. But eventually we got married the next April. Okay. When this call of God came along, I said to Sharon, will you move to East London? She said, oh, my dead body. Yeah. I thought, okay, well. But the tug was there. Yeah. When I realized that it was there, and after the breakfast and praying with our friends and them saying, oh, you're still here. Me bawling my eyes out. Sharon bawling her eyes out. I don't want to go to East London. She doesn't want to go to East London. We don't want to move out. We've got a new house. We've got a new baby. We've got lovely work. We're happy. We're content. Everything is blessed around us. We are comfortable, But the reason we cried was we realized that God had spoken. Yeah. And therefore, the decision was made, not by us, but by God. So as long as we obey God, then it's not a matter of me saying to Sharon, we're moving to East London. It's a matter of me saying to her, listen, God spoke to me, and I believe God is saying we need to move to East London. Yeah. And she will look at me confused and then say to me, let me pray about it. And then God will speak to her. Yeah. And then the decision is made as a couple because you won now. Okay, yeah. It's not, I can't force myself down. Yeah. She can't force herself down. My life is not mine. My life is for her. Her life is for me. So we make the decision together. And that's why I say it's easy. If you are both lovers of God, then
Wow.
God will speak.
Wow.
And he speaks the same message.
Wow.
You know? So
Yeah.
easy peasy.
Yeah. Doc, I've got another question, right? So basically, how do you feel about Christians in, let's say, for instance, movies in Hollywood or Mzansi Wood? We call it Mzansi Wood here. Basically, when it comes to acting, where do we draw the line in regards to that? Kissing scenes, sex scenes, or basically, how far can you go into the industry without compromising your morals as a child of God?
Not very far.
Ooh, straight out.
No. Look, you can't go very far. It is
Yeah.
for that reason that Christian movies, so-called Christian movies, are bad.
Yeah.
Because the acting is bad. Because they never kiss, they never swear, they're never human. They're like these plastered people. You know what I'm saying?
So we
when you
gotta
look at a
like-
Hollywood movie, you get reality in your face.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. You get everything. You get the swearing. You get the sex. You get the drinking. You get everything. But that is really what life is like. The question of acting that is you really have to ask yourself, my relationship to God is me acting in a sex scene with a stranger while I'm married going to impact my relationship with God? If the answer is yes, then you can't do it. It's simple. You have to make the decision. Now, I said to you, I'll use as a case in point. I've written music for many theatre productions.
Yeah.
And I was contracted to write the music for a theatre production that was going to be presented at Wits Theatre. And everything went well until I got to the part where the main character had to sing a song. And the song was the Lord's Prayer, but in reverse. So it was like satanic.
Oh,
It was like we say Heavenly Father who art in heaven.
Yeah.
And this starts Heavenly Father who, or Demon Father who art in hell. And it just like went, it was terrible. It was absolutely ghastly. I looked at this and I thought, I can't write a song. I went to the producer, I said, I'm pulling out.
Whoa.
Because that for me would have compromised completely what I believe and what I stand for. If I stand for holiness, if I stand for purity, if I stand for God, if I stand for His kingdom, how can I associate myself with that?
Wow.
So I think that an actor has. It's not impossible to be an actor and to be holy. Not at all. You just have to choose carefully. And I tell you this, that if God has gifted you with acting, He will give you opportunity to act. And you don't need to compromise.
Yeah.
God will never put you in a position where you need to compromise.
Wow.
Ever. So, yes, you can't.
Come on.
No kiss.
You can't be a God lover and then go and do a sex scene.
Yeah.
No. Sexing definitely. But I'm talking about just kissing now.
I'm very terrified of kissing, you know?
Me too, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even kiss my fiance right now. I told my fiance we're kissing on the wedding day.
you know what I'm saying? Kissing is like very, it's
Yo,
very intimate,
man.
eh?
It still comes with emotions
of-
and like
It's sort of reserved for that one special person. Okay, well, now I've got 3. Okay, because I kiss my wife, but I kiss my daughter and I kiss my son.
yeah.
Whoa.
I do not kiss my daughter like I kiss my wife. You
Yeah.
understand? And I certainly don't kiss my son like I kiss my wife.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But Paul did say, greet one another with a holy kiss.
Yeah.
Which was culturally the thing to do. I've done ministry in both France and in Holland, where people kiss all the time. Okay, and it's like air kisses and cheek kisses, and
Yeah, I
the
see it in
French
movies,
kiss you
yeah.
on your cheek.
cheek, yeah.
The Dutch people sort of like
Italians.
kiss past you. So you put your cheek on their cheek and then kiss the air. The French actually peck you on your cheek and you have to peck them back.
Yeah.
So it's their culture, so I did it, you know, it was fine.
Yeah.
It's not like really
Yeah, I wouldn't,
really
I wouldn't
something
consider
that I
that
would
deep.
want
Yeah,
to do, you know.
yeah.
But it was fine because I don't want to be an offense to anybody.
Yeah.
So, and for me, that didn't compromise
Your
my holiness. It
spirituality.
didn't compromise
Yeah.
my spirituality. It didn't compromise. In fact, they were lovers of God as well.
Yeah.
So kissing, I'll draw the line, I think, yes. That's why Christian movies are bad. I don't watch them.
Yo, what I'm enjoying about this is just the wisdom, because like I can't even begin to imagine how many people want to go into the media industry, either music or acting or theater or whatever it is that they perhaps wanting to go into, and they just have these questions. You're Christian, you're born again, but you just have these questions. You're conflicted on so many things. Like you don't even know, is this correct? Is this okay to do? Is this not okay to do? Because it's not like there's an actual manual for
And how to do it.
yeah, exactly, like in regards to that, like and this is why I really believe in accountability, you know, having people around you who are spiritually mature, who are gonna guide you and advise you as
I'll
to
tell
how
you
to
this.
move and how to walk.
Sorry for interrupting you, but we
No
actually
worries.
do have a manual.
Yes.
The manual
Correct me now.
is Jesus.
Yes, come on.
Okay. Because, you know, some time ago you could buy a wristband that had WWJ, what would Jesus do?
Oh,
D
yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
I often ask that question. Then I say, you know what would Jesus sometimes spat in people's faces. He hit them with whips. You know, he told them that they're
Yeah.
vipers and snakes.
Yeah, true.
And he told them that he loved them. And
That is true.
But the fact of Christ is that he said nothing and did nothing except what he learned and saw from the Father and from that interaction. The Father is all holy, almighty, omniscient, omnipresent, the source of life. In Christ, through Christ, by Christ, and for Christ, all things are created. Okay, so the manual is very, very simple. What would Jesus do? And it's not like a pet question that I'm asking. I'm really asking that.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
would Jesus
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Because the first thing that Jesus had to face, or that he had to ask himself, is, would Daddy do this? Have I seen Daddy do this?
Yo.
Have I heard Daddy say this? And then he would do it.
Come on.
Okay. And I can tell you now that God does not compromise.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of God, because the God we serve is so simple. Okay? And by simple, I don't mean stupid, because he isn't. But by simple, I mean he's simple. Because for God, there's right and wrong.
Yeah.
There's hot, there's cold.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's up, there's down.
Yeah.
You know, there's hell, there's heaven. There's never a middle ground with God. Very easy for us.
true.
Very easy for us. Because, because people want to live on the middle line. They want to be fence sitters and live in the gray.
Yeah.
God says, man, if you're lukewarm, I'm gonna vomit you out.
Yo.
You're either hot, I can accept you hot,
Yeah.
I can accept you cold,
Yeah.
but just don't give me this lukewarm stuff, okay?
man.
The real questions that artists struggle with is that grey line. How far can I go? How far can I compromise
Yeah.
without losing my salvation, or without losing my seat in heaven, or without getting my foot stuck in hell? Or
Yeah.
But hell and heaven is not an iffy case. It's
Yeah.
not like a foot in, foot out type of concept. You can't have one foot there and the other foot there. You can't serve mammon. You know, you can't serve two masters. You have to serve one. If you decide, I love God, and you are faced with a situation, shall I or shan't I? The question is, what would God say? So, I'm asked to act in a movie. I'm asked to get rid of all my clothes. My fellow actor is also asked to get rid of all their clothes. And we have to be in bed together. Now, okay, right. So we're in bed. We've got all these cameras, all the lights, the smoke machines, the fireworks, everything is going. The question in my mind is, okay, if how would I feel if Jesus had to come and sit on the foot end of the bed and look at me now? What is he going to say to me? Huh?
What are you doing?
Am I going to be uncomfortable with Jesus in the room?
Yes.
Okay. It might sound simple, but it is actually quite easy. Because as human beings, this is the biggest mistake we make. We think that God doesn't know everything. We think because we do something in secret, i.e. in my mind or in a dark room or at night,
Yeah.
that God doesn't know. And then the next morning when we feel remorse and we feel terrible and we go to God and now we want to say to God, God, please forgive me. We're saying that as if it's the first time that he's seen it or heard it or known of it. But he knows because he was there when you did it.
Yeah.
He was there when you thought it.
Yeah.
He was there when you premeditated everything.
Yeah.
So when you go to him and ask him forgiveness, he's not surprised at what you're going to tell him.
Sure.
You can't surprise God. What does touch him, though, is your remorse.
Yeah.
Because that speaks of a humble heart and a teachable spirit.
Yeah.
And saying to him, Father, I realize that I have messed up because I've messed you up.
Yeah.
Because you are in me. And I have messed your picture up. I have scribbled on your drawing.
Yeah.
And for that, I am sorry. And then God says, okay, okay, let's wipe it clean. Let's start over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, there's a manual. The manual is Jesus. Whatever we go to God for, what we ask God for, he's going to answer only with one word, Jesus. Doesn't matter. So we can't worry about it.
Yeah.
And we will never, ever be able to say to God, but you didn't tell me.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
You know,
True,
so
true.
there is a manual, live by Jesus. What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
And really ask that question, what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
Not because it's a wristband, but what would Jesus do?
Yeah.
It's incredible. And when you look at the life of Jesus, what would Jesus do? Peter says to him, if it's really you, let me walk on the waters. Walk. just walk, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? The prostitute lies at his feet, accused of all kinds of horrific stuff. I don't know where the guy was she was with, but she was there. So, okay, cast the stone. You've never, ever made a mistake. You throw the first stone. So they all go. Then Jesus says to her, so now where are the people that are accusing you and are pointing fingers at you? And she said, they've left. Yeah. And Jesus makes the most incredible thing. He says, well, I don't judge you. Because I understand where you come from. I know your circumstances that has led you to this point in the dust. Naked and bleeding and accused of all kinds of horrific stuff. But here's the deal. Determine in your heart to now stand up. Look at me. Don't turn back. Yeah. Don't go back to that. But look at me. And now follow God. You just come now. Walk on water with me. Okay, the Bible says, sin no more. Yeah. That's the words that Jesus used. Yeah. But what does sin really mean? It just means we're scribbling on the picture of God. We're messing up his artwork. And he doesn't want that. So stop it. Give me the crayon. Let me take the crayon away. And I'll give you a new piece of canvas. And there we go.
Come on.
You know? So really, what would Jesus do? If you are going to write a song and you've got some feeling about the lyrics, can I do it as a Christian or not as a Christian? Ask yourself this.
Yeah.
Give the song to Jesus and say to Jesus, sing it.
Sure.
You sing the song, Jesus. And I want you to sing the song to the Father. Yeah, this is my song, my lyrics. Sing it to him. And then see if you like your lyrics. Would you? What would Jesus do? Would he sing the song? Or is he going to give it back to you and say, I reckon it needs some editing?
Which actually brings a very interesting topic at hand. Ian and I have this conversation a lot. What do you think of the state of gospel music right now?
Terrible.
Why is that?
Because I've turned it into an industry and it's a business and the ministry aspect has disappeared. Rick Joyner wrote years ago in one of his prophecies or words or whatever, and he said, the problem with worship today, and that was written in the 90s, the problem with worship music today is that it has become an industry and it's no longer a ministry. I'm very saddened with the majority of the stuff that I see and that I hear, because I'm very broad-minded in my musical tastes. And even if I don't like a particular style of music, I can still appreciate the art behind it, and I appreciate the creativity that goes into that.
Yeah.
It's a different expression to me, but that doesn't faze me. So if somebody says to me, "Hey, I've got a song that's written for God,"
Yes.
they can be rap, they can be classical, they can be gospel, they can be southern, they can be whatever style. The style is irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
I will listen to anything. And what I listen to is I listen for the spirit. Because there's a spirit in there that we have to discern. So the Bible says we have to listen to the word of God and discern the spirit. So it is the spiritual input that's going to come out. And that for me is phenomenal. So to answer your question, is the spirit right? Because God listens to our songs. Okay, so let's talk to musicians. The way that God listens to your song is completely different than you listen to it. Okay, we get all technical and we sit in the studio for hours and we have storm and drang, and we want to start drinking and taking drugs and we can't sleep and we want to do this because it's not right and the sound isn't right and we get so freaked out about stuff. And God looks at this and just shakes his head and waits patiently for us to get over ourselves. And then we give God the song, and our ears are satisfied and we think that his ears are satisfied. Oh, and here comes the thing. God doesn't even listen to the song.
Whoa.
Why can I say that? I take that from David, and David said this. He said, "Father, may the words of my mouth, that what I speak or sing, and the meditation of my heart," in other words, that which motivates my singing, "be acceptable," what? "In your sight," the Bible says. Not in your ear. Right. So now I sing a song to God. Yeah? I've written the song. I sing it to him. I think he's listening with his ears. He doesn't. He looks at the song. He's not interested in the song. He's interested in why is the song.
Sure.
He's not interested in me saying to him, "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound." He's interested in, why are you saying that?
Sure.
Jesus says, you people, you look on the outside, you listen, you see, and you feel, and you taste, and you touch. But I go much deeper. I look at the heart. What is that there? He screams at the Pharisees. He says to them, "You're a bunch of whitewashed graves." Why?
Yeah.
Because what you say and what is in your heart do not line up. So I don't even want to hear that. Just keep quiet, because I'm looking at your heart. And that's the real issue. It is the spirit, and God is always after the spirit. We read even in the Old Testament that the eyes of the Lord go all over the world, to and fro throughout the world. Old King James still says, to find those whose hearts are perfect for him. He's not looking for perfect people, because he's not going to find them, and he knows that. He knows we're broken, he knows we've fallen. But he's looking for a perfect heart. What is a perfect heart? A perfect heart is simply a heart or an intention or a motivation that says, "Father, you are love, and you are worthy to be loved. Everything I do is for your glory, for your honor, for your love, to highlight you, to lift you up. And therefore, I will say Amazing Grace. I can say Baba Black Sheep to God, and he will be touched. Because the spirit behind it is what grabs him. So, as a musician, as an artist, as a creative, why do I create? Why am I doing that? Why am I giving it to people?
Sure.
Because, first of all, I'm performing for an audience of one.
Yeah.
I have to give it to the Father first.
Yeah.
So if the spirit of my creation is right, the Father will take it. Oh man, and he will bless it. He will make it go platinum.
Yeah.
Not the world. I'm not interested in the world platinum. I'm interested in the God platinum.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's the spirit.
You know what, Doc? You just pretty much answered. Yeah, exactly. A lot of questions that I had because I had here.
You've got 5,000 questions there.
I have a lot. I had here. Do you think it's possible to be a Christian and still do secular music? But like
Yes.
in these past two answers that you, past two questions that I asked, and the answers you've given, they just seem to have answered that in a sense. But if you want to expand on it, you still can.
I'll say a very quick thing.
Okay.
There's a Celine Dion song, which is just a love song. I normally play it for the students, for the Bible school students when I do the worship course. Because I worship with the song.
Yeah. Wow.
Because I say, forget the fact that she's Celine Dion.
Yeah.
Forget the fact that she's Catholic, you know, and maybe she's not even a Christian at all. I don't know. I don't know where she is. I don't know what her relationship is with God. All I know is she's in the world. In fact, when I went to Las Vegas, I went to see her. Somebody bought me a ticket to see Celine Dion.
Wow.
I was so stoked, man. This woman is phenomenal.
Sure.
Her artistry she is just incredible. Apart from the fact that she's got a beautiful voice, her stage presence, her professionalism is just anyway, she sings the song. I don't know how I will live without you. That's basically the song. I think she wrote it for her husband.
Yes.
But I listen to that and I say to God, I'm singing that song for you now.
Wow.
I don't know how I will be able to live without you. And I can worship as a secular song. It's not a church song.
Yeah.
I can worship with that. In fact, I have used secular songs as part of my praise and worship set.
Wow.
You know?
Come on.
I
Now you're talking
have.
to me.
I have.
Wow.
I have.
Do you know the Beatles song, I Want to Hold Your Hand?
No, I don't know that.
Oh, my word. Go and listen to it. I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. It's a Beatles song for crying in a bucket.
Wow.
But there is a scripture that says God holds us in the palm of his hand. There's another scripture that says that God writes our name in the palm of his hand. There's another scripture that says the righteous man shall fall 7 times, but each time he shall be lifted up because God lifts him up.
Yeah.
My hand in God's hand. So I can sing a Beatles song and praise God.
Sure.
Now, I know that they weren't Christian, for sure, you know, but I don't care because the message of that song.
Wow.
Now, people will berate me and they will judge me and they'll say, yeah, but the Beatles are this and that. Then I say, yes, the Beatles are this and that, and we're still praying for them. Well, most of them are dead now, but, and I understand that the Beatles stand for this and the Beatles stand for X, Y, Z, and they do not stand for God. I do believe that.
Yeah.
But that song, listen to that song. And so now I take that song and I present it to my God.
Yeah.
So is my spirit right? Of course it is. Does the style matter to God? No. Does the song matter to God? No, I don't think so. It's a bit controversial. I understand that. I understand that.
It is a controversial subject.
It's very controversial.
I do understand it, but for me, I understand exactly what you say.
So I use secular music in worship sets. I do.
Wow.
That
is
use
super
that
cool.
other one with the what is the Portuguese woman's name now? I forget. Something five. Anyway, sorry, my memory fails.
With me, when it comes to hip hop music, right, especially secular hip hop music, like just the other day, LZ and myself, we were talking about a Jay-Z album that he released, 444, his latest album that he released. And we were just speaking about one song, I think it was Family Feud, that we were speaking about. And it was like the message on that song is just so strong. Yeah, sure. For me personally, I can listen, I can get the album, listen to it, and then remove it after that because I can't constantly keep feeding myself with cuss words because that's the only problem I have with hip hop right now in the state of hip hop right now is the cussing. Other than that, okay, and the degradation of women, of course, but some of the messages that are on the songs are so powerful, or so strong, and I'm like, wow, these guys are actually saying something sometimes, and like it's so powerful, and I'm like, yo, you know, like I don't know, they're not Christian, yes, but I'm kind of digressing now. But we also have a scenario where we do now have, I don't know if you heard of Lecrae. Lecrae is initially, he's a Christian, and he started off as a Christian hip hop artist, but he has just recently wanted to let everybody know, because a lot of people in the church have kind of been feeling offended by the fact that, first and foremost, he features secular artists, and now by the fact that he's saying, okay, guys, if that's hurting you, then I want you guys to understand, I'm not a Christian hip hop artist. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus. I stand for Jesus, but I'm an artist. And it's like it's almost like so controversial in the church. It's being
It's
received.
a cop-out.
It's being what is that, Doc?
It's a cop-out.
What's a cop out?
No, really. I mean, what is that? What rubbish is that? I'm a Christian that does hip-hop. And he only says that because he offended people. He should stand for God. End of story.
No, he does. No, he really does.
Fighting with the church, not with it's secular people. It's fighting with the church.
Church, as in the institution, church. Institution.
Yes.
So it's actually fighting religion.
Initially, yes. Initially, yes, because people have just, it's almost like the Tasha Cobbs scenario. It's been so controversial in the sense that, and I'm like, I wish people would actually take time to follow the man, watch his interviews, and understand, because he's really like got his feet in now the mainstream, and he's even walking a journey with some of the guys in the mainstream. Like, I was just watching an interview the one time, Sway Universe, where he's speaking, where Sway, a secular hip hop radio DJ, was just kind of speaking and just saying, yeah, the other time I was just by myself, and I just decided to pick up the phone, call Lecrae, and I'm thinking, and we sat the whole night, and he was doing this exact thing right now, he's quoting scriptures and all that stuff. But I don't know what it is. But Lecrae, with him, he never wants to really mention names of who he's discipling. But it's like an expectation from our brothers and sisters a lot of times to say, hey, we want to know who you're discipling. If you're really in this for God, or if you're in this for money. And I don't know.
You know what? If I were able to speak with Lecrae right now, I would just say to him, buddy, listen, you love God, ne?
Yeah.
And he'll say, Then I'll say to him, carry on what you're doing. Okay. Sure. If people complain, smile and say, noted, and carry on and just do what you must do. We will spend so much time wasted trying to justify us with God. God is our vindicator. If my heart for God is right, then I actually don't care what people say. I think we spend far too much time trying to justify our actions, and, in fact, trying to defend God. He doesn't need our defense.
Sure.
God justifies us. That is all that matters. If I decide that I'm going to do a song, and I'm going to use a person who has not committed their life to Jesus, but I feature him because he plays the drums well, or he plays the trombone well, then I will feature him. But I'm offering that entire song to God, and I'm saying to God, this song is for you. For me, the Spirit is right. If you then come tomorrow and say to me, oh, well, who do you think you are that you're using secular musicians? Or why do you use secular musicians? And by the way, are you also praying 5 hours a day and reading your Bible 2 hours a day? And are you also discipling 40 people? Because if you're not doing that, then you're not like really a Christian, are you?
Yeah.
Then I will just say, I hear you. I'm fine, thank you.
Wow.
And I will carry on loving God. If I could speak to him, that's what I would say. I would not even deem it worth my while to try and defend what I do if I know that my heart is right.
Wow.
If my heart was wrong, if my motive was wrong, if it was really just to make money, if it was really just to amass stuff, then you will find that the justification becomes all the louder. The more you justify your actions, the guiltier you look. Well, so my advice to him would be, just say, noted, let them go on their way. I cannot tell you. No, okay, that's beside the point.
Sure.
I don't even want to talk about that.
Lecrae, I hope you're listening, man. Honestly.
There we go. There you go, buddy.
He's definitely listening.
There you go, buddy. Just love
man,
God. Eh?
Yeah.
Loves God.
Honestly. Yo, Dr. Waldo, I don't know, Elsie, do you have any further questions, man? It's honestly been so
We
amazing.
keep him for this long. Anyway,
Yeah, it's been super amazing. I've really enjoyed
busy,
myself.
Man, busy.
I'll
I
send
don't
you
even
my
know how long
invoice
we've
later.
taken, really. About an hour. How long was it? An hour? I don't even know how many.
About an hour.
Yeah. But Doc, thank you so much for coming through. Really appreciate it. For just blessing us with your presence on
welcome.
episode 2 of Blueprint Sessions.
That will now be episode 2, 3, and 4 because you have to edit them.
Titled God Matters.
Yeah.
Doc is obviously our first guest, and the reason why I asked him, this guy, he inspires me daily, man.
Yeah. Same
He
here.
gives us daily devotions at work, and there was no perfect person I could have asked as the first guest, aside from the fact that he's going to America.
I concur.
But we are grateful. Thank you, and many blessings. And I hope you guys got something from that.
I really hope you did. I know
gonna
I
be
did.
listening to
I
this
know
every
I
day,
did, man.
What would
Honestly.
Jesus do?
Exactly. Like
Actually, I
I know.
think we should change the title.
Hey, why not? What would you? Hey,
What
exactly.
would Jesus
What would
do?
you just do? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway, Doc, is there anything you want to say to the listeners before we?
What would Jesus do?
That's it. It's been super amazing, man.
From the man himself,
Thanks, guys.
do you want to give them your handles?
Are you on Facebook,
Man,
Instagram, Twitter?
They can look me up on Facebook. It's just my name and my surname all in together. One Instagram the same.
Yeah.
And that's essentially it. Instagram. I don't know if you guys want to be bored by that, but it's there's some inspirational stuff, but it's a different inspiration. And then where the real inspiration lies is on WordPress. But now that's quite difficult. So you have to go to WordPress and you have to search Tin Travels, TIN Travels.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and it's explained there, but it's a character called Tin.
Okay.
And it's a soft toy.
Mm.
My sister-in-law gave me a soft toy for Christmas 3 years ago.
Wow.
I mean, I asked you, I'm an old man. What do I do with a soft toy? So in any case, I put the soft toy on the shelf, and it's a character that I like. I like comic characters.
Okay.
And this character was Tintin, was a detective and a journalist. In any case, so I wanted to... then I thought, what do I do with this thing? You know, I can't throw it away. I feel too bad. Then I came up with the idea. Whenever I travel, I will have a camera with me and I'll have the toy with me. And I will take photos of this toy. And this toy will then speak about where he was or where he is.
That's so cool.
And then that sort of evolved a little bit because then it can be physical travel, so it can be anywhere in the world, but it's more about his spiritual travel.
Okay.
So it's all the travels with God and the road maps with God and how we handle God.
dope.
So that's Tin Travels on WordPress.
Okay.
And so, yeah. So those are the handles.
Yes.
So it's Waldo Malan at Facebook, Waldo Malan at Instagram, Tin Travels at WordPress.
You have Twitter?
I do, and strangely enough, that is Waldo Malan.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's
a wrap, man. Yeah.
And this is your boy L to the Z.
And Steel right here.
This is Blueprint Sessions episode 2. We love you
Wrapping
all.
it up. Cheers.
And we out.